Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look in the long range as another pattern chain is looking to happen. It looks like the cold air will be coming down into the northeast and it might be even Arctic air. Let's take a look at the GFS here. It shows Edom and the remnants moving out to sea after going off the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. As we continue, you can see the Arctic air come down into the US. You have all the lake effect coming, which will sustain itself, and then you have a clipper system coming down. Possibly even some rain, maybe even some snowflakes down to the coast, and which will cause some even more cold air to stick around and maybe even stay longer. This is as of Friday 18th, the cold air is finally starting to move out of the eastern part of the US, and possibly it might even get warm around the US, but this is starting to get out to the long range and nobody really knows. If we take a look at the GFS, it also shows how cold it will get. The first wave of cold air will be pretty cold. It could get down to 5 to maybe even 10 degrees below average, but the second wave of cold air, which will be the coldest, it shows the temperatures getting possibly even down to 16 degrees below average, which is significant for that part of the area. If we take a close-up on the eastern part of the US, it shows the 2-meter temperature line, which this line, with the blue line, red line here, anywhere on this red line is below 32 degrees at that time. So at this time stamp right here, as of Thursday, 7 p.m., the 32-degree line is on this red line that I am painting here. It is not on Long Island, sorry about that mistake right there, but is almost on Long Island. If you continue, it shows it getting onto Long Island, going even further south, but in the western part shows it gaining back into Canada. If you continue, it shows it getting even further south, possibly even to parts of North Carolina, and possibly even into South Carolina. The 30-degree line, which is anywhere in this light green color, anywhere in this color right here, is into the high to low 30s. Not all the way down into the lower 30s yet, but high to mid 30s. Look how far south that goes. Remember, we are in November, and you're already starting to get 30-degree temperatures in Mississippi, Alabama, and then the 40-degree line is pretty much anywhere in the green, which is widespread, which is normal for that time of year, even into the Panhandle, and there's that. If we continue into Friday, it shows the cold air evacuating, and then there's a slight warm-up. The thing that caught my eye, really, was when you go back a little bit more, all the way back into Wednesday and Tuesday, when this cold air starts to intrude into the northeast, it shows, yes, it gets cold, but the fact that it sticks around for so long, 10 degrees up in upstate New York, possibly even colder temperatures as you get higher. If you take a look at the Canadian model, it shows it getting even colder than that. It shows, at least at this time frame, on 7 a.m. Thursday morning, this is the 32-degree line, which I think is a bit widespread if you ask me. Anywhere in this red line here, it shows it getting almost onto the coast of South Carolina, gets all the way down into Long Island and the Canadian Maritimes. Look how far south this gets. Almost gets to the Outer Banks, which is right on the water. Almost gets to the coast of South Carolina. Halfway to Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. Possibly even getting into Louisiana. If we continue, it shows it getting even colder. Obviously, the cold is more convected, like up in this area, but look how far south that -degree line gets. It gets onto the Great Lakes, even in parts of New York, and maybe even in parts of Maine. So this is your below zero line up here. This is your 32-degree line. Look how far into the ocean it gets. Well past Long Island, well past the New Jersey coast, and into Maryland's coast. Again, almost into the Outer Banks, almost to the coast again in South Carolina, and then the 30-degree line, anywhere in the 30s, is even farther south this time. It's all the way down to the coast in Florida. That is widespread cold. This is the 20-degree line here. You have 20s anywhere from, oops, sorry about that. You have 20-degree anywhere from this line and points north. Look how far that gets to the coast. That is really cold. For this time of year, November 20th, this is almost January temperatures you have here. And then, as you continue, the warm-up happens. But the high for Friday is anywhere in this red line points north is only 32 degrees. Look how cold that gets. Long Island is very cold. Boston's cold. Maine's cold. Pennsylvania's cold. New Jersey's cold. Even into parts of Maryland is cold. Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, everywhere in there is very cold. This is just very below average for this time of year. If we take a look at the European, sadly it doesn't show the temperatures, but boy oh boy it does show it getting cold. This is the last one. This is a 12Z, 0Z. It shows the cold air has moved well off the coast by this time. It's in Florida in the south. But if the new run shows something different, it shows it sticking around the cold, not staying in Florida. It's not all the way off the coast. It's actually still well in the coast, staying North Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, all the way down into the South Carolina, Alabama, possibly too. Anywhere in this purple, pinkish color, that is 10 degrees, possibly even up to 18 degrees below average. That is some serious cold you got going on here. This may be even beyond Arctic cold. Especially for this time of the year, this is really cold air. And then the icon, which doesn't show it, I believe, shows pretty good cold air coming down too. It shows it all the way in the northeast, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, all the way back down to South Carolina. And back up to the Canadian Maritimes. Every single model shows cold air one way or another. GFS, almost in line, but it has a clipper system coming through. The GFS, I'll make a different color here. I'll make it green. This is the cold air for the GFS. Oops, sorry about that. Anywhere above this line is really below average. The icon shows it in red. The blue here, I will make the Canadian model. The Canadian model is almost in line with the GFS. It has it all the way down. Oh, no, excuse me. Almost in line with the icon model. It's just all farther back, but it has the high pressure up here and sustains it instead of going out to sea very quick. And finally, the European. The European I can't get fully, but if I had to take a guess here, the European we will make in pink. The European looks something like this. It has going far south, even farther south than the icon. Every single model shows cold air coming into the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Shows it getting very cold. Not one model shows different. Even the Nav Gem, which is a very bad model, I'll have to tell you that, which I will make yellow. Actually, no, that's a terrible color. Purple. Even that model shows cold air coming into the mid-Atlantic and northeast. We have to watch this. This maybe even bring some snowfall to the part of the U.S. Like the European, no, excuse me, not the European. The GFS shows a clipper system coming through, which could mean pretty cold air. If we take a look at the Climate Prediction Center here, it shows ridging out in the west part of the U.S., and then troughing in the eastern part of the U.S., which shows below average temperatures already starting to go up, the chances at least. I hope everybody has a good day. This could be a snowmaker for parts of the U.S., but we'll have to wait and see. Everybody have a great day and stay safe.